So, Johnny Gargano is back in NXT and is going to face Myles Borne at Stand and Deliver. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video where you get your daily pro wrestling video about just talking about anything that's going on in pro wrestling. Last night, we saw Johnny Gargano come back to NXT after his tag team partner, Tommaso Ciampa, went to AEW, won the TNT title, now is trying to go back after the TNT title and also fend off former enemies. So, we're going to be trying to figure out in this video, is it a possibility for Johnny Gargano to beat Myles Borne at Stand and Deliver? Is that even a possibility? I honestly think so. I think there is a chance. I think that as long as WWE plays their cards right, of course, we could potentially see Johnny Gargano form back into old Johnny Gargano and run NXT. That is my plan. If I'm WWE, it sucked for Myles Borne. It was such an emotional moment. He's been trying to go after NXT titles for a long time. He was in the NXT Championship picture against Oba, failed there, then finally got a chance at the North American title, then failed, and now finally got the title. But it's also Johnny Gargano. He has been doing nothing on the main roster, literally laying down and just waiting for his tag team partner and being sad. So the fact that WWE is actually taking a chance on Johnny by having him go back to NXT, I think was a big step. Now, whenever we saw the in-ring work during this gauntlet match, we would end up seeing Johnny lay on the ring half the time, which I think was not the smart move. I think we could have really seen what he had in the ring during this match, because there was a lot of good superstars in this match that Johnny could have showcased his moveset with, and I think he would have formed well with Dion Lennox. But that's personal opinion. I think that a lot of people would agree with me there that we should have seen Johnny Gargano have more stuff in ring during that gauntlet match last night, just because I feel like that people would have been confused either way if Johnny Gargano would have came out and started wrestling normally and not have the gimmick like how he had on SmackDown. But also now people are still going to be outraged that Johnny Gargano literally laid on the floor half the match. So it's just like, it makes no sense. Johnny was in there with a bunch of younger talents like Jackson Drake, and he was like outstanding during this match. I really like Jackson Drake. I like all these younger guys that are forming an NXT coming from Evolve, and obviously Jackson Drake still being Evolve champion. I think that it's just super huge. Or now it's Aaron Rourke, but he was Evolve champion for multiple months on end. I believe it was 6 months. So now Jackson Drake's coming fresh off of a long title reign in Evolve. He needs to get it back, so he needs to potentially, after this feud right here, I would love to see Johnny versus Jackson. I think that'd be a huge feud in NXT. Obviously, NXT is not smart whenever it comes to certain feuds that the fans actually want, because now we're seeing them revisit feuds between Jada and Blake. We're seeing Blake face Tatum. It's just all over the place in the women's division. But it almost seems like they have the men's division figured out. And I think that not only does Johnny have a chance at Stand and Deliver to win the title, I think that he could go on to have a really long reign as well. I think he could run NXT. I'm personally not intrigued by the Joe Hendry NXT title run, so I think that instead of Myles Borne carrying that North American title picture division, I think that it would be best for Johnny Gargano. I think Johnny is one of the most outstanding wrestlers in WWE, and I think that to have him with that title and have him represent NXT like how he used to is a huge step. Multiple people, a lot of people on the IWC is going to look at this as a downgrade for Johnny Gargano, but it's not. It's literally helping his career the best of their ability. Instead of WWE doing what they do to a lot of superstars, and once they don't have a place for them on the main roster, they just let them go. They're actually trying something new with Johnny Gargano by having him go back down to NXT. So we gotta respect the art of trying whenever it comes to WWE's part here, because not only did they have him come down to NXT, but they're having him face Myles Borne after laying on the canvas half the match and then getting up to win. I think it's just huge what WWE did there, because now we get to see Johnny versus Myles. We get to see what Myles has in the ring against a real in-ring veteran. So it's going to be cool to see. It's going to be fun to see if Myles can hang in the ring with somebody like Johnny Gargano. We've seen him in the ring with Oba, we've seen him in the ring with Ethan, we've seen him in the ring with all these guys, but now it's time for him to finally showcase what he can do against a true veteran, which we all know is good in the ring, in Johnny Gargano. And I kind of want to date back to what Johnny was doing on the main roster before he came down to NXT. Obviously, Tommaso Ciampa going to AEW and his contract expiring and him wanting to go to AEW, and Johnny having this character where he's just laying down, sad that his tag team partner left him and that he doesn't have anything to do. And then Candice pays Danhausen to curse MCMG into winning, which I thought was pretty crazy. Obviously, Chris Sabin knew, but Alex Shelley didn't, so that was kind of interesting. But now we see Johnny Gargano on the main roster. WWE finally gives him a chance to potentially showcase himself And as soon as he goes to showcase himself, he asks for anybody in the locker room. He said he's tired of being this lazy character and that he's going to finally try to do something. And then he goes and he tries to challenge just anybody that'll come out. Oba comes out and squashes him. I think that was the worst decision you could have possibly made. I think that WWE needs to do something different. WWE needs to really lock in on Johnny's character here in NXT, because the best thing they could possibly do is have him win the title. But also, like, fans, we gotta be honest. If Johnny Gargano beats Myles Borne at Stand and Deliver, do not go on the internet blaming WWE, because let's be honest, the NXT men's division is really bland. It is. Their big three is left. Oba, Javon, and Trick is left. We've seen them on a shaky boat ever since they've left, and really ever since Valkyrie and Julia left, and Roxanne. So there's room for a lot of improvement, and there's injuries happening. Ilya LaFleur's injured, Lexis King's injured. A lot of these guys that they're trying to work around are injured, so they're having to work around huge roadblocks, and them coming out and having Johnny Gargano come out and potentially re-alive his NXT career, I think is like the best decision possible, rather than him just laying down on SmackDown every week. So it's the best decision WWE could have done. I'm really happy to see what they can do in NXT, and honestly, I think that Johnny will get the job done. I don't know. Obviously, WWE is going to come in with the approach whenever they're booking this match that the fans are going to be mad if they just take this away from Myles Borne, especially because of the pop that Myles has been getting. And unless we see somebody like an Ethan Page or a Ricky Saints interfere in this North American Championship match, I don't see any reason why Johnny shouldn't win. Because, you know, I think it'd be really disappointing to have Johnny not only have an upset on SmackDown where he calls out somebody and then gets squashed, but also he goes down to NXT, his special place where everybody loves him, and loses. That would really hurt. I think that would really, really hurt his character. And I would be really excited to see if he wins. Let me know down below. Do you think Johnny Gargano will beat Myles Borne at Stand and Deliver? I sure hope so. As much as I have a little bit of doubt in my mind, I sure do hope so. I think that it's best for him. It's best for WWE. And it's most importantly best for NXT right now, with the divisions not being as strong as they need to be. Let me know down below your thoughts, and I will see y'all boys in the next one. Deuces, ooses.